Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a game between LofCritical versus FairyMvP here on MLG. I want to say dual site as I believe, or this is an MLG version. I believe this is actually the GSL version of dual site. LofCritical spawning as the red Terran player here at the 9 o'clock position. Meanwhile, FairyMvP spawning as the blue Zerg here at the 2 o'clock position. So far these matchups have been really strong, really good, as I am going to make sure to go ahead and set that away. Now, this is, I believe, Game 4 or Game 5 in the series. I believe this is a Clan War or King of the Hill style. Not quite sure. I don't read Korean, but the games have been so good, and the quality of the games and just the micro and the macro and the general overall game sense has been so strong that I've decided to cast as many games from this replay pack that I have found. Now, we'll see whether or not LofCritical goes for a fast command center once more after a barracks. If he doesn't get gassed, that does seem to be the typical strategy, as he does build a barracks a little bit further away from that front door. Meanwhile, a drone on the way out, trying to make sure that there is currently no proxy barracks, or it could try to do something sneaky and perhaps go for this hidden expansion. Oh, no, that is not a gold expansion? Alright, apparently I thought there was a version where this is actually a gold expansion, but perhaps that is not the case this time around, and a drone will be making its way up that ramp in just a moment. Taking a look, he will see this barracks being constructed and notices that there is gas being placed down. So most likely the opening will be a reactor Hellion opening, as that seems to be the common strategy as of late. I can't imagine it would be any sort of Reaper expansion, as a drone is now patrolling right there. Supply depot going to be added on the front door, and now as this SCV scouts out his opponent and realizes that there is a hatchery at the low ground, he knows that any Zerglings will be significantly delayed, and knows that he can just continue to freely train up and tech up. You can see a mule now being added. A factory should be added here in just a moment. Following that factory, we could get a reactor onto that barracks and then do a bit of that reactor swap there. Just a matter of time, as now two Marines are now sitting down on the low ground here. A little bit of a curious position on those Marines, as he wants to make sure that no drones or no SCVs are no drones or Zerglings are able to slip up that ramp and see what's coming. I'm fairly sure, though, that Fairy knows that there is going to be reactor Hellions based upon the scouting, and he's going to build for this. One spine crawler near this hatchery down over here, a couple Zerglings to handle the ramp, and then the reactor Hellion may or may not be effective, as we are going into that command center here. So command center first. We should have a swap on here in just a moment. There you go, doing the liftoff and the landing right as that barracks completes, and training up one Hellion at first, and then perhaps training up two Hellions. There you go, and now training up an additional SCV and calling in that mule. So there you go, that has been completed, and the timing on this is absolutely perfect, as two Hellions will pop out. The command center has already been started, and unless a lot of roaches are being trained and a roach warren's going down, FairyMvP is not going to be able to do anything to this command center, as the Hellions are going to be able to handle those Zerglings for quite a while longer, up until metabolic boost does come into play. That should even things up a little bit when fighting off of creep, but still the Zerglings will have a significant advantage when fighting on creep. Zerglings now attempting to run away. It looks like some damage is being dealt, but that is just artificial damage, as there is currently 3 queens sitting over in between these two bases. So it looks like a creep tumor will be added down over here, connecting these two bases with creep, and one of these queens should just stay and tend to this hatchery. 2 Hellions now simply waiting for perhaps a creep tumor to pop out. If it does pop out, the Hellions are going to be right on top of it, making sure to destroy it. Harvester count 26 compared to 24, at this stage, as there are some Marauders and Marines. We should be getting into more barracks. There you go. More barracks are going to be added. Another refinery and perhaps a starport should be added in just a moment, as the Hellions looking to do another run-in, unable to really do anything. And now this is going to be the telltale sign of what Fairy wants to do, as Fairy needs to set up a third base at some point. Does have a slight harvester advantage, 36 over 27 drones, with 6 more drones on the way. Very, very heavy harvester advantage now. Before you account for those mules, we should have a 10 harvester advantage in just a moment, as the Hellions are just trying to contain Fairy, but Fairy is not going to be contained for very much longer, as roaches and more zerglings should be added as well. Creep tumors now being spread out in the opposite direction of the Hellions. The Hellions did not scout this out, and perhaps he can set up a third base down over here with creep tumors. Marines and Marauders are also making a move. One Zergling will get toasted. Down it goes. And now with Marines and Marauders being added to the group, the Zerglings and even these spine crawlers may fall. So this may be a bit of a timing push here, as the Hellions are going to be in position to line up and perhaps destroy a lot of Zerglings. We do have a macro hatch in play, as the Queens are now positioning themselves in. There's the stim. Here's the engagement. Both sides trying to fight. One spine crawler, does get taken down very quickly. No transfusions. Another Queen gets taken down, but the Zerglings coming in from behind, dealing a lot of damage. Queens going up against those units there. No concussive shells, as the Zerglings now finally re-engaging. More Hellions coming in. Spinecrawler joining in on the fight. We need to see some spawn larva, as the Zerglings now chasing back those Marauders. 44 drones versus 41 SCVs. A third command center is being built. Zerglings looking to run around the south side, perhaps catching some of those units in transit. They're going to pass by the Marauders that are in the middle of the field and now run all the way back in here. There are going to be a couple of Hellions, as the Zerglings going to perhaps get us around. No, not get us around on any of those. And now run straight into the mineral line. Natural expansion is losing a fair amount of SCVs. Hellions getting destroyed. The Marauders and the Marines, the Zerglings unable to push their way in, as the Zerglings are now going after more units again. And the Zerglings finally able to barely escape. One of them will be able to tell how many workers were killed. 0 workers killed. I thought the harassment was a little bit more effective than that, as the harvester count is now 54 compared to 49. This third command center about to be completed. A hatchery needs to be placed down here, and quickly. Otherwise, LofCritical is going to establish this base in just a moment's notice. Hellions now engaging against Zerglings. Zerglings able to retreat once more. One Zergling able to finish off one Hellion over there, as the Zerglings now once again are going to back off and perhaps get a nice surround here on one of those Hellions. But the Hellions very dangerous when in numbers, especially against light units. A Queen looking to take care of the hatchery now. You can see a lot of drones currently mining off of 2 bases. A third base should be added. We are now going into some Banelings, as the Banelings are going to be the perfect defense against the Marines, and more importantly, those Hellions. Those Banelings, if they're able to find their target and detonate on target, should be able to deal a lot of damage to those Hellions. I believe it's 35 damage to a rather low hit point Hellion already. Missile turrets are being added by Critical based upon the timing. He knows that missile turrets need to be established. Already getting 1 in each mineral patch, as the Marines and the Marauders with stim, no weapons upgrades though, finally make their way off to the north. A scanner sweep may reveal something, as the Mutalists try to fly away from all of those Marines. A Marine may be able to take down one of those Mutalists. The Mutalist down to 8 hit points. It looks like it will be able to regroup here and now try to deal some damage over here. But a missile turret in position already. Marines attempting to run away, but a lot of them already getting taken down. Supply depots need to be lowered. Is it going to be lowered in time? It looks like that one supply depot will be destroyed. The Marines unable to do anything about that, as the Mutalists simply fly back around again. We do see there are, 6 Marines down in this position here. The orbital command looks like it will be lifting off. No, not lifting off, as the Mutalists are now exchanging themselves for Marines. And now coming in to deal some easy damage to those mules, as the Marines once again put away that pressure. Marines in a bunker with a range of 6, going to be very effective. As we now see Hellions and now even more Zerglings running in from the north. There are a lot of Marines and Marauders in this group. Some siege tanks, no siege tech just quite yet. So this is going to be a very, very trying time, as I believe FairyMvP has a small window of opportunity to deal a lot of damage going after Marines. One Marine down. Supply depot is now getting destroyed. More Marines now making their way over again. And now just trying to make sure that damage is being dealt. One supply depot already down to 26 hit points. It may burn down if he's not careful, as more Marines really overutilizing that stim, and another supply depot does burn. Total losses still higher for the Terran, who does have a third base with a lot of mules in play. And right as I say that, 3 more mules come flying out of the sky, adding in an additional 900 resources a minute. 68 harvesters compared to 62. You can see that there's one Marauder in the front acting as a spotter. Zerglings now morphing into Banelings, as the Mutalisks are going to try to attack from the north. Marines are going to be forced to pull back here. What's going to happen? The Mutalisks may group together, going after an SCV. May be able to take down a siege tank. One siege tank does go down. Missile turret does come in to get some damage, as the Marines are now coming all the way back home. Another missile turret, 2 missile turrets being completed there, and a lot of damage to that Mutalisk ball. But it looks like the siege tanks and the Marines are going to finally engage. Mutalisks going after the siege tanks first. Banelings simply surrounding their targets, as the Banelings are trying to roll on into this group. This is not looking good. The Baneling going to run, splash straight in, take down a bunch of those SCVs there, as the Banelings now going after some critical units. Another Baneling. Oh, the Banelings do not attack that really heavily dense amount of SCVs. That could have been just near death, losing 12 SCVs like that, as the siege tanks most likely will re-siege and try to re-establish a point of defense. What's going to happen? The Banelings and the Marines once again going at it. The siege tank quickly gets destroyed. SCVs, Banelings, Marines, and Zerglings. What is happening? The Banelings may take down a lot of those SCVs. Are they going to detonate? It looks like they are not. There you go. Finally taking down a good number of those units. Now making their way back off to the north, taking down a large group there. And FairyMvP getting 63 worker kills, may pretty much have the game. Mules now being recalled back into position, trying to establish up a strong economy once more. But there is already an 80 food difference. 3 bases versus essentially only 1 right now, as there's not that many SCVs at the other bases. Zerglings once again going to roll in. Banelings now trying to find their target, melting a couple of those Marines, and there is the GG. So FairyMvP doing a critical easy win. I'm not going to even say that's easy. A critical win here on Duel Site, winning with just very effective Baneling harassment and Mutalisks being everywhere at once. The Banelings were upgraded 1-1, dealing 39 damage per explosion. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this game. Stay tuned for the next one.